Facing the heat, the impact of 4 degrees global warming. Join me as I explore what our world will look like if we hit 4 degrees of global warming. Let's see if we can handle the heat. When we talk about global warming, we often hear about rising temperatures and melting ice caps. But what does it really mean to hit 4 degrees of warming? To put it simply, 4 degrees is a critical threshold that could drastically alter life on Earth. It's a point of no return, where the consequences of climate change become catastrophic and irreversible. The good news is that we're not there yet. The bad news is that we're getting close, and fast. In fact, the IPCC warns that we could reach 4 degrees of warming as early as 2060 if we continue on our current path. That's just 40 years from now, which is a blink of an eye in terms of human history. So, what's driving us towards this critical threshold? The short answer is our addiction to fossil fuels. For centuries, we've been pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and it's finally catching up with us. The result is a climate system that's increasingly unstable and unpredictable. We're currently on track to emit enough greenhouse gases to warm the planet by 3.2 degrees Celsius by 2100. That might not seem like a lot, but trust me, it is. At 3.2 degrees, we're looking at sea levels rising by up to 1 meter, devastating coastal cities and displacing millions of people. We're looking at droughts that last for decades, and heat waves that become the new norm. The consequences don't stop there. At 3.2 degrees, we can expect to see a 40% decline in global food production, leading to widespread famine and social unrest. We'll see ecosystems collapse, and species go extinct at an unprecedented rate. But here's the thing, even if we somehow manage to limit warming to 2 degrees, we'll still see significant disruptions to our climate. Sea levels will continue to rise, albeit at a slower rate. Weather patterns will become more extreme, and natural disasters will become more frequent. It's a vicious cycle, and one that we need to break. So, what happens if we reach 4 degrees of warming? The consequences are almost too dire to imagine. We're talking about a world where the polar ice caps have melted, sea levels have risen by several meters, and coastal cities are underwater. We're talking about a world where droughts last for decades, and heat waves are a permanent fixture. At 4 degrees, we can expect to see widespread famine and social unrest, as global food production declines by up to 50%. We'll see entire ecosystems collapse, and species go extinct at an unprecedented rate. It's a world where climate migration becomes the new norm, as people flee from areas that are no longer habitable. Take the example of Bangladesh, a country that's already feeling the effects of climate change. Rising sea levels are contaminating freshwater sources, threatening the livelihoods of millions of people. More frequent cyclones are destroying homes and crops, leaving communities vulnerable and exposed. Or take the example of Cape Town, a city that almost ran out of water in 2018. The drought was so severe that residents were forced to queue for hours just to collect a few liters of water. It's a glimpse into a future where water becomes a scarce and precious resource, fought over by nations and communities. The consequences of 4 degrees are clear, and they're terrifying. So, what can we do about it? The answer is simple: we need to take action, and we need to take it now. We need to transition away from fossil fuels, invest in renewable energy, and electrify our transportation systems. In conclusion, 4 degrees of global warming is not a future we want to live in. It's a world where climate change becomes the dominant force shaping our lives, where social unrest and conflict become the norm. It's a world we can avoid, but only if we take action now. The clock is ticking, and it's up to us to make a change. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content on climate change and sustainability. What are your thoughts on 4 degrees of global warming? Share them in the comments below, and check out our next video on climate solutions and individual actions you can take to make a difference.